Gilbert, just to kind of set this up for you, the Rams have an opportunity to be in the playoff picture after this weekend. If they beat the Browns and the Seahawks lose tomorrow against the 49ers and the Packers lose to the Chiefs, which are all doable, then the Rams would be the seventh seed after week
Okay.
13.
One more time on that part. Seahawks lose to the Cowboys. Packers lose to the Chiefs. What was the first part?
And then the Rams beat the Browns
Okay, so those
because
two.
the Vikings are on a bye.
Okay,
So
okay.
if that happens, the
Wow.
Rams are the seventh seed come after week 14. Now, according to the New York Times and their playoff percentage, the Rams have them and the Packers have the best chance to get the sixth and the seventh seed. And
Really?
yes, all they need to do now, Gilbert, is they need to go 4-2 the rest of the way, which is possible now. Now, now you're asking the Rams to do something they haven't been able to do, and that is beat teams that are not in your division. In division, they're 4-1. Outside of their division, they're 1-5. So that's what it faces the Rams the rest of the season. Now you have winnable games against the Commanders, the Giants, um,
Saints.
the Saints, and I'm blanking on the fourth one. But then you have to go to the Ravens and to the 49ers. So the opportunity is there for this Rams team to get in. Now, the other thing that's interesting, Gilbert, is if let's say they get in and they're the 7 or 6 seed, there's a possibility that they get to face some old friends in the Lions. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
also that. So
In
I mean,
Detroit for Matthew
in
Stafford.
Detroit, exactly. So
Mm.
there's a lot of good storylines, but I'll let you have the floor now, Gilbert.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued about the potential Lions Rams game, and that could work out because Detroit looks like they're gonna probably be the number 3 seed, and now that the sixth spot is available because the Vikings don't want to hold on to it, and they could climb up to number 6, 3-6. That's a possibility. But the tricky part here, Victor, you mentioned the 3 winnable games are pretty much, let's call them must win. Like let's just say that
Yes,
Commanders, Giants, the Saints. The Saints are
and the Browns. Sorry,
in
those were
LA.
the four. Yes.
But and then I just wanted to categorize the Browns something different. Like the ones that are going to be difficult, Baltimore in Baltimore, 49ers in Santa Clara, they might be playing for a number 1 seed. We don't know. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. Who knows? That could be kind of the twist there. But the one game is kind of like in the mix of like difficult, winnable. It's the Browns. So, it kind of feels like they have to win that, right? Like you mentioned, four
Yes.
and two, but it's a difficult one. So it's a lot on the line. It's a lot of pressure, and the Browns are maybe in a better spot, but they could easily lose their wild card spot too. They're actually in the race with the Ravens for the AFC North. They're not that far behind there. Maybe like a 1.5 game difference. The Ravens are in a bye week.
Yeah, are the Ravens 9-3 they're 9-3,
Yeah,
right?
9-3, and they're seven
And
and
the
four.
four, right? Yeah, so you're right, 1.5.
So but regardless, they want to play for a wild card spot because you got the Bills trying to make a push, you got the Colts, you got the Texans, you got the Broncos, you got the Steelers. So one loss could really kind of fall, like you mentioned, like you could really may fall off the playoff picture. And Vic, I wrote a story at SI early this week because it made me do like a winners and losers story, and I was like, oh crap, the Colts are in the playoffs currently, and the Rams are only like a half a game behind or 1 game behind. I'm like, in week 4 when they played each other in that great game, we all thought these two teams are going to the playoffs, and they both had these terrible funks, and here they are, they climb out of the hole and they're back in it, and just kind of shows you how long the regular season is to get to the playoffs,
Oh,
and we're all like in this 1 game window or 2 game window, and no, it's a long season, so again, we're gonna do a sample size here of the last games, but we're all trying to figure out a combination. It could easily be they win in Baltimore, lose to the Saints, something
yeah.
wild. We just don't know. But the main thing is the 1 game at a time. And for a while, I wasn't even looking at the schedule be after the Ravens game for the Rams. I'm like, okay, they gotta dig out of this hole before I care about playoff picture. And now that they're here, I started checking out the rest of the schedule. And I wonder if that Thursday night football game, Saints and the Rams, I don't think it might get flexed out because the Saints are somehow in the NFC South race, which is a terrible dumpster fire division, and the Rams are now playing for something. So I kind of want that game to stay on Thursday. I'll probably check out that game at SoFi and be out there on Thursday. Uh, but it's a lot on the line. It's very exciting, and you're right. Got to go 4-2, and must win against the Browns because, like you mentioned, if you go 3-3, what is that? 8-9, right? So
Yeah,
it's
it's a
kind of good
difference
luck.
between being 8-9 and 9-8, which I said from the beginning of the season. I said if the Rams go 9-8, they make the playoffs, and as I said, it comes down to the back end of the schedule. If you get through the beginning of the schedule and then the back end eases up and you can take advantage. Now, they, as we talked about, they need to take advantage of the games they have in front of them, the ones that like they they control their own destiny here. If and they have the coach, as has been pointed out, they have the coach, they have a quarterback, they have players to be able to get it done. And so, but as we know, Gilbert, it's the NFL. Anything can happen, as they say, any given Sunday.
Yeah, and like we're gonna go off of those four teams, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Rams. And yeah, if you look at the quarterback and the coach and the core group, the Rams should have the advantage. They just won a Super Bowl, like somebody mentioned earlier. So things are lining up the ways for the Rams, but it's a tough game against the Browns. You definitely got to get that. And one more thing, like the Seahawks, man, they're fading quickly. And but the thing about that, like even if they like for the Seahawks, they gotta win one with against the Cowboys, Eagles, and 49ers, which is brutal 3 game
And they play
stretch.
the Steelers too. Like that's
Yeah.
the other thing
I
too.
I just don't even know. Yeah, they could probably lose to the Steelers. The Steelers are just a weird team. But they also have to play the Titans, which is a winnable game, and some other crappy team. So they could probably also go 3-3. But the good thing about the Rams, they have the tiebreaker there. And I'm looking
Exactly.
with the Vikings, it could be they played. I know I'm not as familiar with the Vikings schedule, but I do know they played the Lions twice in the final 3 weeks, so that could
And
be
they're playing the
difficult.
Packers, who they're also in contention.
There you
So
go.
that's why the Packers and the Rams they have the best percentage the rest of the way. The Packers have an they have an easier schedule, and then number two is they have the tiebreaker over the Rams because they beat them, and so that's the other thing too. So I mean,
So
there's a lot. I mean, we
I
got
guess
six.
for me, I just want to like say is like hopefully the Packers don't get in because then if the Packers get in, that means they'll be the 6th seed probably if they tie, and then the
Right.
Rams are 7, and we miss out on the Lions Rams playoff game. I just want that now.
Well, I mean, and that's the other thing, Gilbert, because let's say you get the 7th seed, you're probably facing the 49ers a week after you face them at the end of the
That'd
season.
be
So you get them
interesting.
back to back weeks. So there's a there's a lot to look forward to. Like you're just hoping that the Rams, are able to do the things that they're supposed to do and they actually, pull some of these games out, the winnable games.
Man, I wonder what would happen if the 49ers are like maybe locked into the number 2 seed, nothing to play
Yeah.
for in week 18, but it's kind of like, hey, Sean McVay, F you, I'm Kyle Shanahan. We got a rivalry here. I'm gonna
Well,
play all
they
my
they're
starters.
they're not gonna want to face the Rams. They'd rather face, someone else. I would assume.
Yeah, they could not if they want if they have an opportunity to knock them out, would they do it? Like it's gonna be a very interesting
Yeah,
storyline. But we're getting a little
I
ahead. It's
know.
first handle the Browns, which is gonna be a very big telling sign of where they're gonna go. And I think that's why people are in the middle of being optimistic, like win this Browns game and then we'll talk kind of thing. It feels
Yeah.
like that.
I'm with that crowd. I mean, that it comes it's just it's crazy how you, as you said a couple weeks ago after the Packers game, we were talking about, okay, the Rams need to start getting ready for the draft. Now after 2 wins, we're over here like breaking down the last 6 weeks of the season and a potential matchup with either the 49ers or the Lions. So here we are. But they need to win this game against the Browns. I think that's the big thing. You win this game and you're in better position to make the 6 or 7 seed.